Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight from your sources. Today, we're taking a deep dive into an idea. Well, it really challenges how we often think about success. And willpower, too. So many of us, we chase these big goals, big bursts of motivation. But then, maybe it fizzles out. When that initial excitement fades, what if the secret, the real key to building momentum, wasn't about some huge effort? What if it was about, tiny shifts, almost invisible changes? We were talking about James Clear's amazing work, Atomic Habits. And look, this isn't just, another self-help book. It really feels different. It's more like a meticulously crafted blueprint, really practical. It gives you this actionable framework, shows how tiny, consistent changes, they can lead to remarkable transformations over time. It honestly makes lasting change feel, well, not just possible, but actually kind of strategic.
And that strategic angle, that's exactly what we want to unpack for you today. Our mission here is to go, beyond just a summary. We want to pull out Clear's core insights, the really actionable strategies, help you understand the massive impact of these routines that seem so small, and crucially, how to use these ideas to build the good habits, sure, but also how to systematically take apart the bad ones. What's really fascinating, I think, is how Clear shifts the focus away from just motivation, which can be so fleeting, right? And towards offering a practical system for real, lasting change.
Okay, yeah. Let's definitely unpack this. So the core of Atomic Habits, it's this idea that's almost revolutionary because it's so simple. Small habits, big results. Clear says, look, true change. It isn't about these grand, sweeping gestures. It's about atomic habits, these tiny routines. So small they seem, well, insignificant. But here's the genius part. He shows they're not just small actions. They're like daily investments. He has this really powerful line. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement.
That's such a great analogy.
It really is. It's not just a metaphor.
Yeah.
It's a totally different way to think about effort. It means that tiny 1% improvement day after day. It doesn't just add up, it multiplies. It creates this huge gap over time between where you are and where you were. Almost unimaginable, really. But we also have to face the flip side, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bad habits. They work the same way. Same compounding power, but dragging you down. Slowly, maybe.
Often without you even noticing.
Exactly. Like that tiny leak you ignore,
Right.
and then suddenly, big problem. Too late.
And this leads us to something really critical Clear points out. It's the shift in focus, away from just having goals towards building effective systems. We hear it all the time, set big goals. But Clear argues, maybe controversially, that goals are not the key to success, systems are.
Okay, break that down a bit.
Well, goals give you direction, right? They tell you where you want to end up. But it's the daily systems, the routines, the actual process that determines if you get there, how you make progress. If you connect it to the bigger picture, it's all about that daily journey, not just the finish line.
So you can have the biggest goal ever.
Right. But without a system to consistently move you forward, it just stays a wish most of the time. The system is where the real work happens, and maybe where the real magic is too.
That's a powerful way to put it because it explains why so many of us do set goals, but then fall short. It shifts the focus from, I don't have enough willpower to maybe I don't have the right process.
Exactly.
And building on that, one of the ideas in the book that really hit me was about identity-based habits. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, like an outcome, Clear says focus on who you want to become, your identity. So it's not I want to run a marathon. It's I am a runner.
Yes.
Or trying to quit smoking. No, I'm trying to quit, but embracing I am not a smoker.
Yeah.
It's about aligning your actions with this new self-image you're building.
Exactly. And that's not just playing with words, It's deep psychology. When you align your habits with the identity you want, the behavior starts to reinforce itself. It becomes natural. Every time you do that habit, Clear says it's like casting a vote for the type of person you wish to become.
Wow, a vote.
Yeah, which really makes you think, doesn't it? Are my daily actions, are they casting votes for the person I actually want to be? When your actions and your identity click together, the motivation to keep going gets way stronger. Because you're not just doing something anymore, you're being someone.
Okay, so to really get how to build these habits or break bad ones, Clear breaks down the mechanics first. He builds on earlier work, like do Higgs, but refines this habit loop into 4 steps. These govern all our behaviors. First step is the cue. That's the trigger, right? The thing that kicks off the behavior.
Like seeing your running shoes by the door.
Exactly. Then comes the craving. That's the motivation, the desire behind it, maybe the urge to feel energized or less stressed. After that, you've got the response. That's the habit itself, lacing up, going for that jog, and finally, the reward. The payoff, the satisfaction you get.
That runner's high, maybe.
Right. And that reward reinforces the whole loop, makes you want to do it again. Understanding this loop, these 4 steps, it's totally foundational for his next part, the 4 laws of behavior change. And yeah, those 4 laws. That's where Clear really gives us the practical toolkit. It's simple, but man, it's effective. A framework for building good habits and getting rid of bad ones.
Like a cheat sheet for behavior.
Totally. Okay, law number 1, make it obvious. This one targets the cue in that loop we just talked about. It's all about designing your environment so good habits are just triggered naturally.
Making the cues unavoidable almost.
Yeah, like leaving your vitamins right next to the coffee maker, not hidden in a cupboard. He also talks about habit stacking. Brilliant idea. You just attach a new habit you want to build on to one you already do.
Oh, like the flossing example.
Exactly. Not just I'll floss today, but after I brush my teeth, then I will floss. Connects it. Simple. And he loves implementation intentions too. That's basically pre-deciding exactly when and where you'll do a habit. Turns a vague idea like I'll exercise more into a concrete plan. I will exercise for 20 minutes at 6 p.m. in my living room.
Makes it much harder to wiggle out of.
For sure. And he has that quote that just nails this law. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
That's so critical, that quote, because it really highlights that your environment, your systems, they often shape you way more than just raw willpower. If the cue is obvious, consistently there, the chance you'll do the habit goes way up, almost automatic. It's about making the right choice the easy choice, the path of least resistance.
Okay, so we've made the cue obvious, but just seeing it isn't always enough, right? How do we actually want to do the thing? What's Clear's trick for making the habit itself more appealing?
That brings us to the second law. Make it attractive. This targets the craving part of the loop. One really clever technique he suggests is temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling.
Okay. You pair something you need to do with something you genuinely want to do. Like his example, I will only listen to my favorite podcast while I'm exercising.
So you start associating the exercise with something you actually enjoy.
Precisely. It links the effort with a desirable experience, makes you look forward to it even. He also talks about social influence, joining a group or culture where the habit you want is just the norm.
Makes sense if everyone around you
It
does.
feels easier, more natural for you to do it too. And finally, just reframing how you think about the habit, seeing it not as a chore, but as an opportunity. An opportunity to become healthier or smarter, whatever it is. This law really taps into our basic psychological drive for pleasure, for reward. By making the habit attractive, you're kind of hijacking that drive for productive ends, making the anticipation itself a motivator.
Okay, obvious.
Yeah.
Attractive. But let's be real. Sometimes the biggest hurdle is just starting. I remember trying to meditate, aiming for like 30 minutes right off that. I think I lasted 2 days.
Oh yeah, classic mistake. We've all been there.
So what's Clear's way around that? How do you lower the bar so you actually, do it?
That's law number 3. Make it easy. And this focuses on the actual doing of the habit. It feels a bit counterintuitive, maybe. We think, go big.
Right, go big or go home.
But Clear says, no, go tiny to go long term. The main idea is reducing friction for good habits. Make them as easy as possible. And for bad habits, do the opposite. Increase the friction. Make them harder to do.
Okay, how do you make it easy, practically?
His famous technique here is the 2-minute rule. Scale down any new habit so it takes less than 2 minutes to do.
Less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. So instead of read a book for an hour, your habit is read 1 page. Or do yoga for 30 minutes becomes take out my yoga mat. The point isn't the 2 minutes itself, it's mastering the art of showing up. Just starting. Getting that initial momentum. Because he emphasizes, for habits to stick, repetition is way more important than perfection. Or duration, initially.
Just doing it again and again.
Exactly. Habits form by doing, consistently. Not by waiting for the perfect moment or feeling super motivated. Make it easy to start, and you're much more likely to keep going.
Obvious, attractive, easy.
Like,
Got it. What's the last piece? Law 4.
Law 4 is make it satisfying. This ties back to the reward part of the habit loop.
Okay, the payoff.
Right. Our brains are wired for immediate gratification. We like rewards now, but most good habits, their real benefits are delayed. You don't get fit after one workout, right?
Unfortunately, no.
So Clear says we need to find ways to make the habit feel rewarding immediately. Bridge that gap.
How do you do that?
Could be super simple, like putting a check mark on a habit tracker. That little visual win feels good.
Yeah, I like crossing things off lists.
Exactly, that immediate sense of accomplishment. He's a big fan of habit tracking for that reason. What gets measured gets improved. Seeing your streak grow is satisfying. Or you can build in small, immediate rewards. Maybe after you do your difficult task, you allow yourself 5 minutes to check social media or enjoy a cup of nice tea.
And he makes accountability too, right?
Yes, creating accountability systems,
Yeah.
like a habit contract with a friend. If you skip your habit, maybe you owe them $5. That makes not doing the habit immediately unsatisfying. It's all about giving your brain that immediate feedback, that signal, hey, this was worthwhile, do it again. Even if it's a small signal, it helps reinforce the behavior until those bigger long-term benefits start to really show up and become their own reward.
Okay, these 4 laws seem really powerful for building new habits. What about the flip side? Those ingrained bad habits we want to break, does he just say, don't do them?
If only it were that easy. No, he offers a really systematic way here, too. You basically just invert the 4 lies, flip them on their head.
Okay, so invert law 1, make it obvious.
Make it invisible. Remove the cues for your bad habits from your environment.
Like if you eat too many cookies, don't keep them on the counter.
Exactly. Put them somewhere hard to see, hard to reach. Or better yet, don't buy them at all. Make the cue disappear.
Okay, law 2, make it attractive. Invert it is.
Make it unattractive. You actively reframe the habit. Focus on the downsides, the costs, the negative consequences.
So instead of thinking how relaxing that cigarette is, you focus on the health risks.
Precisely. Highlight why it's not actually serving you. Associate it with negative feelings or outcomes.
Law 3, make it easy, becomes.
Make it difficult. Increase the friction. Make the bad habit harder to perform.
Like, unplugging the TV and putting the remote in another room after watching.
Perfect example. Add extra steps. Make it inconvenient.
And law 4, make it satisfying. Invert it.
Make it unsatisfying. You want an immediate itch side if you perform the bad habit.
This is where the accountability partner comes in again.
Could be. Or setting up some kind of penalty for yourself makes the immediate consequence unpleasant. It's about systematically dismantling the habit structure, you see. Removing the things that trigger it, make it appealing, easy, and rewarding. It's re-engineering, not just relying on pure willpower.
That whole framework, obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying, and then inverting it. It seems incredibly logical, almost foolproof. But it makes me wonder, why do people still struggle? Even if they know these laws, sometimes you hit a wall, right? People start strong, then give up.
That is such an important question, and Clear tackles it directly. He talks about something called the plateau of latent potential.
The plateau of latent potential.
Okay. It basically explains why so many people quit too soon. It's because, especially at the beginning, the results of new habits often aren't visible. You might feel like you're stuck in what he calls the valley of disappointment.
The valley of disappointment. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
You're putting in the effort, right? You're doing the reps, but you're not seeing the big, dramatic changes you expected, and that's frustrating.
Super frustrating. Makes you think, is this even working?
Exactly. But here's the key insight. Beneath the surface, change is happening. It is accumulating. You're building the foundation, laying the groundwork, those breakthrough moments, the times when you suddenly notice real progress. They usually only happen after you've crossed that plateau, after you've persisted long enough.
So the results are lagging behind the effort initially.
Precisely. Success, in Clear's view, often comes to those who just stick with it long enough for that compound effect to finally kick in and become visible. It really forces us to rethink our relationship with patience and how we define success. It's not always immediate. Sometimes the biggest changes are invisible for a while.
That's actually really encouraging. A reason to keep going even when it feels slow. And beyond these main laws and the plateau, Clear does touch on some, let's say, advanced tactics too.
He does. He really drills down on some core ideas.
Like reinforcing that environment is greater than motivation. Your surroundings matter more than just feeling motivated.
Yes, designing your space is crucial.
And constantly coming back to identity change. Focusing on becoming the type of person, not just achieving an outcome.
The deepest form of motivation.
And he links habits to mastery, right? Saying habits plus deliberate practice, mastery. It's not just mindless repetition.
No, it's about repeating with intention, with focus on getting better.
But he also throws in a little warning, doesn't he? About the potential downside.
He does, which is important. He calls it the downside of good habits.
Which sounds weird. How can good habits have a downside?
Well, once a habit becomes automatic, like autopilot, you can stop paying attention. You might become complacent.
Ah, so you might miss opportunities to improve further or adapt if things change.
Exactly. So even with good, efficient habits, we need to occasionally reflect. Check in. Are these routines still serving our ultimate goals? Are they still aligned with who we want to be? Or do they need tweaking?
Okay, so pulling this all together,
Hmm.
what's the big takeaway for someone listening right now?
I think the core message from Atomic Habits is actually incredibly liberating. It says true, lasting change. It doesn't have to be about these massive, overwhelming shifts. It's about the small things, tiny daily actions. But actions that are aligned with who you truly want to become. It really emphasizes that it's not about doing more necessarily or waiting for some lightning bolt of motivation.
Which never seems to last anyway.
Right. It's about doing the small things consistently and
Yeah.
doing them in the right direction. It's a system, a powerful system for building the life you want, really. One tiny, deliberate vote, as he calls it, at a time. And crucially, understanding that mastery comes from just showing up consistently, even and maybe especially when the results aren't obvious yet.
And there you have it. The profound power of these tiny atomic habits, these small, consistent actions, when you align them with your identity, when you use Clear's 4 laws, they really do compound. They build into these extraordinary transformations over time. It's a framework that makes change feel, well, practical,
Yeah.
achievable.
So as you go about your day-to-day, maybe just think about one area, just one part of your life where you'd like to see a real change, and ask yourself, how could applying just one of those 4 laws make it obvious, attractive, easy, or satisfying? How could applying just one, even to a tiny action, start to shift things over the next year? Maybe also, how does knowing about that plateau of latent potential? How does that change how you might view those inevitable early setbacks? Knowing that invisible progress is still real progress.
Yeah, definitely food for thought. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the practical wisdom of atomic habits. We really hope this conversation helps you start casting those tiny, powerful votes for the person you want to become.